The road stretched out before me, an endless ribbon of asphalt disappearing into the darkness. I gripped the steering wheel tightly, my knuckles white in the dim glow of the dashboard lights. The only sound was the rhythmic hum of the tires on the pavement. I had always heard that driving at night could be unsettling, but I never truly understood until that fateful night. I was on a long, isolated stretch of highway, miles away from any signs of civilization. The night was moonless and the stars were hidden behind thick, heavy clouds that seemed to press down on me like a suffocating shroud. The only source of illumination was my headlights, casting eerie shadows that danced in the trees lining the road. As I drove, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me, something lurking just beyond the reach of my headlights. My heart raced as I checked the rearview mirror, half expecting to see a pair of malevolent eyes staring back at me. But the road behind was empty, swallowed by the inky blackness. I tried to dismiss my unease as simple paranoia, the result of hours spent alone on the road. I turned up the radio, hoping that some music would ease my nerves, but even the upbeat tunes couldn't drown out the sense of foreboding that had settled over me like a heavy fog. Then, it happened, a flash of movement at the edge of my vision. I jerked my head to the side, my heart pounding in my chest. There, in the woods just beyond the road, I saw it. A figure, tall and gaunt, its features obscured by the shadows. It seemed to glide effortlessly through the trees, keeping pace with my car. I slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching in protest as I skidded to a stop. My heart was in my throat as I peered into the darkness, trying to catch another glimpse of the figure. But it had vanished, leaving nothing but the sound of the wind rustling through the trees. I sat there, breathing heavily, trying to convince myself that I had imagined it all. Maybe it was just a trick of the light, a play of shadows on my tired mind. But deep down, I knew that it was real, that something had been out there in the darkness, watching me. With trembling hands, I turned the car around and started driving back the way I had come. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being pursued, that whatever I had seen in the woods was now following me. Every rustling leaf, every distant hoot of an owl sent shivers down my spine. I reached for my phone, my fingers fumbling as I dialed 911. The operator's voice came through the speaker, calm and reassuring. I tried to explain what had happened, my words stumbling over each other as I recounted the figure in the woods. The operator assured me that a patrol car would meet me soon and instructed me to keep driving until they arrived. As I continued down the desolate highway, I couldn't help but glance in my rearview mirror every few seconds, searching for any sign of the mysterious figure. But the road remained empty, the trees still and silent. The minutes felt like hours as I drove on, the darkness seeming to close in around me. Finally, I saw the flashing lights of a police car in my rearview mirror, and relief washed over me. I pulled over to the side of the road and the officer approached my car, his flashlight casting a stark beam of light into the night. He listened to my story, his expression growing increasingly skeptical as I spoke. He told me it was probably just my imagination playing tricks on me, that the woods were full of strange sounds and shadows at night. But he agreed to follow me for a while just in case. As we continued down the road, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. The officer's presence was reassuring, but I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever had been out there in the darkness was still watching, still waiting. Then, just as I was starting to relax, I saw it again. The figure standing in the middle of the road, illuminated by the headlights of the patrol car. It was even more grotesque up close, its features twisted and contorted into a nightmarish visage. The officer slammed on the brakes and we skidded to a halt just a few feet from the figure. It stood there, its eyes fixed on us, a twisted smile spreading across its face. And then, with a speed that defied logic, it vanished into thin air. The officer and I sat there in stunned silence, our hearts racing, our minds struggling to comprehend what we had just witnessed. It was as if the very fabric of reality had been torn apart, and something unspeakable had slipped through. We called for backup, and more officers arrived to search the area, but there was no trace of the figure. They took my statement, but I could tell that they didn't believe me, that they thought I had imagined it all. As I drove away from that nightmarish stretch of highway, I couldn't help but wonder what I had seen, what had been lurking in the darkness. I knew one thing for sure. I would never drive alone at night again. The road, once a symbol of freedom and adventure, had become a twisted nightmare, a place where the shadows held unspeakable horrors, and the darkness concealed things best left unseen.